I feel connected to God and my calling here at First Times College for my first appointment, because I came from South Korea to Dallas about 5 years ago. It was a very difficult journey, but God is always good, and God sent me angels around me, like my mentors, colleagues, and friends who became my family here. And as I served this church for children and family ministry, I love to make a safe, faithful, and joyful foundation as a church for our kids. I'm so happy to see the kids running into the church with big smiles and shouting my name, Pastor Stella. So that gave me genuine joy in my heart. And I know for sure God called me here.
I feel the most connected to God and my calling whenever I am in the presence of young people, which is very fitting for my ministry at University Park, working with youth and young adults. But I think we do a disservice to our youth and young people often by telling them that the church will be yours one day, and not telling them that the church is theirs today. And in my work through Bridgeport and with young adults at University Park and youth at University Park, I've learned that often they have better ideas than all of us adults do, and they have more energy for the church, for the future of the church, more energy when it comes to worshiping God, and expressive and creative ways in doing so. So I really love being around young people, because it sharpens me in my ministry as I do ministry. It gives me new ideas, and I always try to credit them whenever I steal their own ideas. But I think it's grown me a lot in my ministry to show that the church is larger than just big church or the old folks, I guess, who show up on Sunday morning.
When I think about where I feel most connected to God and my calling, it's when I'm out in the community helping people. And so one of the examples I think of most often that's been like the biggest moment for me was when I was in the state capitol a few years ago. We were working against some bills that were targeting trans people. And so I spoke on the floor for a Senate hearing, and I was leaving the building. I was walking up a stairwell, and someone stopped me, and they're like, "Hey, we're trans activists, you're a pastor, right?" Because I was wearing my clergy collar. And I was like, "Oh yeah." And they're like, "You're the first clergy person who's ever spoken on our behalf and has shown us love in this way." And it was just a moment where I was like, this is what it means to be doing the work of love and God in a justice-oriented way. Showing up in spaces and meeting people where they actually are and letting them know that God loves them, even if I'm the only person who might be doing it. But that's just those moments where I'm doing that, where I'm out in the world telling people God loves you, even if they've heard otherwise their entire lives. That's where I feel the most like I'm doing what God's called me to do, to love others.
So I feel most connected to God, others, and my calling, largely in camp spaces. My primary responsibilities as an associate pastor are with youth and families, and so every year we go to Glen Lake Camp for the summer and for the winter, and so we spend a lot of time there doing tons of activities and worship, and it's been such a great relationship that's been fostered between our church and Glen Lake. And so it's really easy and really quite full of God moments and moments of connection, and it's really easy to know, like, this is what I'm meant to do at a place like Glen Lake.
I find connection to God and to people and to my calling at every table I gather at, whether that's a coffee shop table, the communion table, dining tables, meeting tables. As we come to the table, we encounter God there. And as I get to have an opportunity to hear how people are experiencing God in their lives, in little ways and huge ways, the honor of that is a big piece of what drew me to this work and keeps reminding me of how God's showing up in my own life. So every table I gather at is a holy place.
I believe to love boldly means stepping out of the comfort zone to be a family with those who are different from us. Because as an Asian woman clergy, to serve the mainly white congregation, it could be very hard and challenging for both of us. But I try to open my heart to learn about their culture and ministry, and I believe they did same way. So they welcome me a lot, and they just adopt me as their daughter and great daughter.
I think when we show up with bold and sort of radical love for the world, we become these points of binding. We bind together our communities and our churches. We take these unique individuals and we bind them together like a book, and we make them a collective that tells a story with different chapters and different narratives, but it's all bound together.
I think part of loving boldly in the radical solidarity part is understanding radical solidarity with yourself and loving yourself boldly. I think it's easy to say, oh yeah, I love my neighbor, but we forget about the part of the commandment as to love yourself. So loving boldly is both an external act and an internal act. And I think that's something that we miss sometimes in the church because we're so worried about, are we doing everything right? We don't think, are we taking care of ourselves?
For the church to love boldly, I think it looks like living into the call from Christ to love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and to love your neighbor as yourself. So that looks like being involved with the mission projects that your church is doing and the mission trips that your church is going on. It looks like being a part of our conference-wide service projects and all of those big things, and your generosity to the church and to God.
Loving boldly for me is about loving without certainty, without limits. It's about loving even if you don't know that that world is going to love you back, allowing the world to break your heart even. Loving boldly means pushing beyond what has been and imagining a world that's even more than what we have now, that loving boldly can really bring about the transformation that God's asking us to transform the world.
I brought a pin with me. This was a gift actually from my sister. She gave it to me a few years ago, and I wore it to General Conference 2019 in St. Louis when I went to St. Louis. I wear it every service. It's on my robe every service. And to me, it's a symbol of a radical love that Christ has for us. It's a symbol that even when things were going terribly at General Conference from my perspective, that there was still love to be found in St. Louis. St. Louis is where I got my call to be a deacon. I'm at the top of the Gateway Arch. God was like, hey, do you see what's happening on the streets of St. Louis? Do you see the people that are outside of this arena? There's just heartbreak going on in the arena, but there are people living lives out here and they need to know the love of God.
So this mug was given to me by Matt and Cammie Gaston when they were cleaning out their kitchen cabinets, and they found that this mug was too big for them, that they didn't need this much volume to their coffee. And I do want this much volume to my coffee, so a 20-ounce mug is great for me. And I love how it fits in my hands, and that it reminds me that there's just endless capacity in the work that I'm doing to love and to grow.
All of these things came from the church where I was first made a member in the United Methodist Church, which was First and Summerfield UMC, which was in New Haven, Connecticut. And so I've got the bulletin, and it's got the name of the senior pastor, Vicki Flippin, the covenant of membership form with her signature and mine. They gave me this lovely scarf that is so like big and cozy and fluffy. They have like a made for you with love from First and Summerfield. And then they also gave me this hymnal. And so the hymnal, I don't know, I cherish it the most for artifacts of faith in my life.
So I brought this stole, which is my first stole and a gift from my Texas family for my commissioning service about 2 years ago. And I love this because of my identity. My Korean original name is Inberto, which means good star. And I believe my calling is to be a good star for the good news.
Yeah, so this is a Lego flower in a pot that was gifted to me by the lay leaders and the SBRC at University Park United Methodist Church. And so 2 of my youth came to me and said, Colin, can we do like a Lego building day? And I said, yeah, sure. And then they asked me if they could build this Lego set for me. So 2 of my youth actually built this Lego set for me, and it was gifted to me by the church. And it sits on my desk, and I like to think of it as a constant reminder that like we have this beauty, right? This is a fun little pretty beautiful Lego set that represents these flowers, but it also represents our connectedness to each other, because it's Lego pieces. Lego pieces snap together and are connected, but also the church gave it to me, and then the youth, even though they didn't know the church gave it to me, put it together. And now it serves as a reminder and a little fun thing to look at that reminds me of the church that's supported me and how we're connected to each other.